My name is Toma Susi, and I'm a postdoc here at the University of Vienna. Richard Feynman posed the question in his 1959 talk: is it possible to see and manipulate individual atoms in materials? And for a long time this seemed more like science fiction than science, but since the groundbreaking experiments with scanning tunneling microscopy in the late 1980s, it has become part of scientific reality. And in recent years, developments in electron microscopy have enabled researchers to also directly see individual atoms and to know which elements they are seeing. And for these kind of studies, graphene, the one atom thick sheet of carbon, is really the best material. So it's not surprising that many people, including our collaborators in the UK and here at the University of Vienna, have been studying graphene by electron microscopy for several years. But in most of these studies, the material has been somehow defected with some atoms missing. And indeed, when you use electrons to probe materials, you have to accelerate them into energies of tens to hundreds of kiloelectron volts, and they can actually cause damage in the material under study, and this is called knock-on damage. The present work got started when myself and Jani Kotakoski were looking at the stability of a related system under an electron beam. And our density functional theory simulations surprised us by predicting that a relatively low energy electron beam would be able to cause non-destructive changes near heavier dopant atoms, atoms of other elements that replace part of the carbon atoms in graphene that stick out of the structure. But we didn't have a clear way to test this immediately, so it was very fortunate that we read a nice paper by Ursel Bangert and Quentin Ramasse from the UK. And they and their teams had been studying silicon dopants in graphene for several years, and this was really the best test system for our prediction, so this is how the collaboration really kicked off. Quentin and Demika Paptsaklo at the Superstem facility in the UK, and Jani, Clemens Mangler and Yannick Meyer, working here at the microscope behind me, were able to see exactly the kind of changes that we predicted. However, since the time resolution of electron microscopy is limited to 100 milliseconds or so, it would not have been possible to understand what is happening without support from theory. The detailed and computationally demanding simulations told us that at an acceleration voltage of 60 kilovolts, which the cutting-edge ion microscopes used, the probe electrons are not energetic enough to cause direct knock-on damage. So crucially, the carbon atoms next to the silicon dopant are slightly less strongly bound than other atoms in the structure. So while the 60 kilovolt electron beam that the ion microscopes use is not enough to cause direct knock-on damage, it can impart enough of a kick to the carbon atoms next to the dopant so they fly up from the structure but get immediately recaptured due to the attractive interaction between the silicon and the carbon atom. At the same time, the silicon atom has had time to relax into the lattice position vacated by the carbon, so in effect they switch places, and we call these silicon-carbon bond inversions. Our work, now published in Physical Review Letters, describes the process in atomic detail. We were further able to analyze the experimental data consisting of 38 such jumps, 19 of them in an unbroken continuous time series, as a stochastic random process. And knowing the electron dose on the sample, we were able to calculate the probability of this process happening and compare it directly to simulations and obtain really good agreement between theory and experiment. We further looked at some other processes that are less likely, experimentally speaking, and we were able to explain why this is so from first principles. Finally, although it was beyond our present scope, what makes the results truly intriguing is the fact that the bond flip is directional. The silicon moves to take the place of the carbon atom that was hit by the probe electron. This means that it should be possible to control the movement of one or more silicon atoms in the graphene lattice with atomic precision without causing any damage. So it may well be that we'll see a different kind of quantum coral or a university logo written with silicon atoms in graphene sometime in the near future. Thank you for your time. For more details, please check out our article available online. For a more general audience, I've also written a blog post describing the research. Thank you.